Right. Hi guys, how we doing? Tiz here from Chiseled Fitness. Welcome along to the first ever Chiseled Fitness webinar. So this is mainly on nutrition, about maximizing your weight loss through proper nutrition. Now, one of the main things that personal trainers like us that we find is that you might have your training down. You might be pretty settled with that. You train maybe roughly from 3 to 5 times a week or even twice a week. Most people are different. I'll just get this thing popped up here. But one thing that most people tend to lack on is nutrition, and that part is a massive player in getting towards your goals. So this webinar is probably going to last between roughly anywhere from 30 to 40 minutes. It can be a little bit more, it can be a little bit less. We'll see how it goes. Any questions, just write a wee comment. I'll have a wee look and I'll answer them towards the end. Other than that, let's get cracking on into this. So, welcome along. Now, first thing I want to cover is that if you are currently exercising yourself or you already know a little bit about nutrition, this is going to cover probably the basics of it. It's not going to get too sciencey. This is mainly a webinar that's going to help the beginners out there, but you may also pick up a thing or two about it. We're just going to go through why nutrition is so important. We're also going to cover the protein, carbs, and fats, the time and calories, all about your metabolism, and optimum fat burning. So we're not going to get way too in depth, but enough for you to arm yourself with this knowledge, go forward and put it into practical use towards your own goals. Now, I did mention that it can be good towards weight loss, which nutrition is. It's important towards weight loss, but it's also important for the reverse as well. You can add muscle with nutrition. If you're really trying to add mass, nutrition's a bigger component as well. So practically anything you're doing with exercise, nutrition is super important. So please don't leave it out. As they say, abs made in the kitchen, and that's true. So, not to mention all the other benefits of exercise. Do your exercise, but also take note of nutrition. Cool. First up we have here is welcome to the first ever webinar. So, I'm still picking up things here and there. You might find parts where I'm not too comfortable with because I haven't really used the software much or at all really. So I'm still figuring it out as I use it. I'm recording this. So for all those that are going to watch this later, welcome along. Hope you pick out something from this. So we'll start off. Why is nutrition important? Well, number of factors. It goes well beyond just losing weight or adding muscle mass. Nutrition is also important just for functioning of your body. Your body needs to function and needs to be running at optimal conditions, things like that. So you want to take in the right foods, get the right amount of vitamins and minerals so that your body can do what it needs to and it functions right. These days you see all sorts of different things, like disorders, like people not being able to cope with certain stresses and all types of things like that. Everything you see in modern society, a lot of that now don't quote me on this, but a lot of that is most likely due to poor nutrition. We have so many chemicals in foods these days, it's ludicrous. Everything you have has something added to it, unless you get organic things. Not that I'm an organic health nut, that's not me. I still like to enjoy my foods, my processed foods and things like that. I just like to watch my nutrition while I do so and incorporate things that are good for my body. So nutrition is important for functioning. It's important if you want to lose weight, like we covered before, if you want to add mass, all those things. So it's not just eat what you want and exercise and the results will come. You really need to focus on the nutrition. Starting, for a lot of people find it hard kind of to get into a rhythm with good healthy eating. So what I propose is practically just do something that you can change a habit with. So if your habit is eating heaps of biscuits every day or a block of chocolate, so to say, you could just start off every day just cutting a little bit out. So cut a little bit out for the first week. Say you had 4 blocks a day, little pieces, so to say, not 4 big blocks. There's some people out there that may do it, but 4 little blocks, you want to cut that down for the first week, just the 2 blocks a day. So don't get rid of it totally. That's going to drive you nuts, and it does drive most people insane, just totally cutting it out. So things like that, just going slowly, getting yourself into it, that's important. We're going to cover also protein, carbs, and fats. So we're going to go over what protein does for you, what are carbohydrates used for, and what are the fats used for. So we'll also dispel the wee myth that fats and carbs are bad. That's not necessarily true. So we'll get into that a little bit further on into this webinar. Then we're going to cover nutrient timing, as well as calorie breakdown, stoking the metabolism, and incorporating it all together for optimum fat burning, which is what we want. You want the results, you've really got to put the work in. Results don't come quick. Generally there's something advertised as a quick fix for everything. In fitness, unfortunately, this is not the case. There tends to be things that are misinterpreted and misadvertised, false advertising in the market these days. So pure hard work, staying consistent, and really the mindset that you got, believing that you can do it, will really help you towards reaching your fitness goal and getting you to that end result. Cool. So on to the next slide. Rightio. So to gain muscle and lose fat, carbs, as well as protein and fat, it's more to it than just those 3 macronutrients, is what we call them, macronutrients. Protein, that's going to be good for building your muscle. That's why you hear people say, eat so-and-so, amount of protein, and take this protein, eat your meat, eat your red meat, have your lean fish, all sorts of things like that. That's because protein is going to help build that muscle. If you have a workout, what you're doing effectively is breaking down that muscle. In order to repair that muscle, protein is needed in order to rebuild and repair tissue, and it grows back stronger. So you're not getting stronger at the gym, you're actually breaking down your muscle, or if you're doing a boot camp, so to say, you're breaking it down. The recovery is when you actually stopped working out. You can take good nutrition that helps your body recover, decent amount of protein, and that will get you there. Then we have carbs. So generally carbs are the first used for energy for your body. Your brain relies on glucose for its energy, so carbs are important. Don't completely eliminate carbs. We do have diets where it's completely eliminated. For some people, it does work. It's a matter of finding what works for you and what doesn't. But generally, a lot of people will get the jitters. You feel sluggish, you got no energy, you just don't want to do anything. That's what happens if you completely eliminate carbs. Reducing carbs is not a bad thing. That will help you drop the weight. Most people tend to intake more carbs than they actually need. So that's why first things that are usually to go from a diet are carbs. That's things such as your potatoes, your pasta, rices, and things like that. Now we do have complex carbs. That's where you hear of brown rice, your wheat, your oats and things like that. That's all your complex carbs, which is a low glycemic index. So that means your body's going to utilize that energy over a longer period of time. If you got high glycemic carbs, which is all the straight out pastas, your white rice, carbs are carbs at the end of the day, but it's going to spike that insulin just a little bit more. Your body's going to have that more instant instead of sustained burst of energy, which means you're going to tend to crash a little bit quicker. And when I say crash, I mean you intake the carbs, you get a big carb up in your body. You're feeling good, you got the energy, but at the end you just feel so drained. You don't have energy left in you, because all that energy is just hit your body at once and it's spent. If you have low glycemic things, your kurma is a good one as well. That's going to give you sustained energy and keep you going for longer. Then we have our fats. So your fats are really important in your body. Just because it says fats, it doesn't mean it's going to make you fat. That's not the case. Fats are important, even just for around your organs and things like your healthy fats. It helps protection for your body. You could say your vital organs, even your brain. So you need your fats. Don't completely eliminate them. Your body needs a certain amount of fats to run on every day. You don't want to completely eliminate them. And even people go so as far as to going high fat diets, high protein diets, and low carbs. And yes, it does work. So fats are not the enemies. It's the type of fats that you eat which are the enemies. And we'll go on to that just a little bit later on in this webinar. So nutrition, keeps your body running optimally, like we explained in the previous slide. You want it to have, good nutrition for day-to-day function. If you're constantly eating bad foods, you're going to start to feel sluggish, lethargic, tired. You're not going to want to do anything. Your mental state's going to be in the drain. You're not going to have that motivation or anything like that. So that's why nutrition is so important, to have the right stuff. You don't want to miss out your minerals and your vitamins. Next up, we have sustained energy. Same thing with keeping your body running optimally. If you want that energy all day, make sure you're getting the right foods in your body. Once again, if you have really fatty foods, greasy foods, high carb, really high carb meals, things like that, such as, off the top of your head, McDonald's, KFC, they're nice, easy to go to foods, and they're filling and they're cheap. That's why most people do go to them. But that type of food is not the healthy stuff. You're going to get calories from it. It's going to give you some energy, but it's going to make you feel absolutely crap and lethargic afterwards. And some of you can probably actually relate with this. Actually eating a big meal from Macca's, or something that is greasy or fatty or really sweet, full of sugar, and afterwards you just regret it. You feel crap, and you say to yourself, next time, right, that's the last time, I'm not going to do it again next time. But when it comes to that situation again, it repeats itself, and it's a cycle, and you really find out how crap you feel after eating foods like that when you've been healthy for quite a wee bit. So take that in your stride. Make sure you really start to limit those kind of foods. Good thing about having good nutrition is you can eat more for less. So technically, you can have a lot more food for the amount of calories. So, example, you have a Big Mac. And we'll get onto this in just a second. I got a wee graph. Big Mac example is roughly about 500 calories or so. Now, if you had a plate of food with veggies, some complex carbs such as your kumara, some brown rice, and meat, that's going to be a big plate of food. That 500 calories is a big plate of food. If you go and look at a Big Mac burger, some people might find them big, but to be honest, they're actually quite small. So you don't get much from them. And so that's why you actually really want to focus on getting your calories worth, I would say, because you want to eat more than actually, starving yourself off such little food and getting so much calories in from it. So cravings, what are you going to do about those cravings? That's the thing. Everyone has cravings. I have cravings. I'm not perfect. I'm a trainer and I still get massive cravings. My downfall is sugar. Sugar really gets me. Yours might be pies or savories or things like that. It's different for every person. But when it does come to that, cravings is the killer for most people. You could be running a really good diet during the day. You have your set routine, your plan, and you just feel like, you might have a biscuit here, or you might have a bit of chocolate there, or, a wee savory here. And that all adds up. That all adds up to more calories. And it's food you probably shouldn't be eating. And that's why sometimes you wonder why your diet's not working, is because you're adding all these little bits here and there in terms of your cravings, and it amounts to more calories. And so that's actually a higher intake for your body than what it actually needs, than what you burn. So keep note of your cravings. Everyone's different. We'll go on to the next slide here, which is, here's the graph. I like to say you can't out-train a bad diet. You could do a really good workout, so burn so many calories during the workout, build up a really good sweat going. You feel really good, but here's the big but. What people tend to do after a workout is they go and eat something bad or unhealthy, you could say. So if you look here, we have a wee graph of what foods are the equivalent to their, you could quote, hashtag bad foods. So if we look at the top one, 1 cup of grape tomatoes equals 2 French fries. So just take that in. Would you rather a whole cup of grape tomatoes or just 2 wee tiny French fries? That's the calorie equivalent. You look onto the next one, you have the 1 cup of fresh grapes. That equals 1.5 tablespoon of M&M candies. So now you're starting to understand the different worth. So with healthy food or good nutrition, you get so much more back in return in terms of your calories compared to, those fatty and sweet and sugary foods. And just have a wee look at these. Keep eyeing yourself down here. We go to 2 cups of minestrone, for example, at the bottom, which is 300 calories, or 1/16 of a pepperoni pizza. It really is that drastic, the change. So that's why people tend to eat so much fast food and the weight just piles on. But whereas you go to eat some good food, you try to eat the same amount of calories, but it's so hard because you're getting so much more food with that amount. So keep that in mind. And then definitely look onto the right-hand side, this graph coming up here. You've got your soft drinks, which is, each one's different, but this one here is 138 calories, for example. It's going to take you 26 minutes to walk that off. For one drink, just take note of that, 26 minutes of walking it off. If you run, that's 13 minutes. And and that can take, you get down there in literally a minute less if you're really thirsty. And then that's 26 minutes just to burn that off. So keep that in mind. We follow on with standard chocolate bar, about 229 calories. That's 42 minutes of walking it off. And so you go down further. Let's look down here a little bit more. Right, coffee. There we go. That's a big one. A lot of people like their coffee. I like my coffee as well. I tend to have one in the morning. And when I'm with clients, I tend to go to coffee culture as well. But just keep a note, if you really like a lot of your coffees during the day, especially the shop ones, barista-made coffees, 290 calories in one medium mocha coffee. And that's going to take 53 minutes to walk that off. If you run it off, that's 28 minutes. Imagine running for half an hour straight just to burn off one coffee that you had. It definitely gets to you. That's why you see it's so easy to pile up the calories. More calories equals, pretty much more fat storage in your body. And that's where people tend to find themselves lapsing, and then you get overweight, and it builds and builds. And you might even be in that position right now. But just know and understand that you're not the only one. There's people out there who are all like this. It's just a matter of change, a bit of habit, and taking things baby steps at a time. So let's go on to this next one. Another wee graph just for you to look at. We have example here. We'll have a look at the kiwi fruit. If you look onto the third picture down, 328 grams compared 328 grams compared to 73 grams of chips. And now both of those are worth the same amount of calories, but look at the portion size you get. It's a big difference. Just take note of everything else as well. Same with the flax bread, canola oil, so little oil, and you can eat that amount of bread for the same amount of calories. So have a wee look at that. Things get into perspective once you start understanding how this is all working, why you get so much more nutrients and calories worth for good food compared to bad food. Okay, rightio. Let's go on to this next one. This is the cycle I made up. I call it the dreaded fat cycle. So forgive me if this is already somewhere else on the internet. I just whipped it up when I was making this webinar, or doing the PowerPoint for it. So sorry if I'm stealing anyone's work, but I made this up. So we've got at the top, we've got eat healthy. To the right, we've got lose weight. At the bottom, we've got binge. And left, we've got add weight. So typically, most people, when starting to lose weight and they really want to make a change within their lifestyle and their habits, they will eat healthy. So they'll go all out. They'll eat healthy. They won't do anything else apart from that. They go gung-ho, full, all out. And then that doesn't last. So they lose weight. Yes, they lose a bit of weight. They see a bit of changes. But the cravings get really strong. They start missing those bad foods, which leads to binging. So you might have actually experienced this yourself or know someone who have done it. They end up binging, or you might have done it yourself, you end up binging, then that weight comes back on again. After that, you feel real bad, so you eat healthy, that weight comes off again, you binge, that weight comes back on again. So it's just a cycle that goes round and round. So that's why you may see people lose weight, then they go back up in weight, and they lose weight and they go back up in weight. So take note of that. And that's one of the main reasons why what we call yo-yo dieting, is where you're constantly going up and down and you're not actually getting anywhere. So one thing at Chiseled Fitness that I want to do is teach people to keep that weight off. That's one of the most important things to do. I want my clients to lose the weight and actually maintain it by keeping it off. And I teach tips and tricks you can do to let that happen. Keep it off, and keep it off for life. In other words, it's just about making those lifestyle and habit changes. So, right, if we go into the next one here, we have all about your cravings. So talking about cravings, you're either an all or nothing person. So that means you find that you work best eliminating all your junk food and going for periods of time without any junk food at all, just go all out. Or you're one of these people that have a little every day. So you might like your little pieces of chocolate every day, but you don't need heaps of it. Or you can keep away and it never affects you. Once again, reading this, there's no one right way of doing things. Everyone's different. I can't tell you whether or not you should or shouldn't do something because you've got to listen to your own body. I personally like to kind of avoid it because I know if I have that one little bit of chocolate or that one biscuit, that's going to set me off, and then I'll end up binging for the rest of the night, or even the whole day, next day. So I feel like I've stuffed up already. I might as well just keep going. And I'm sure you might be laughing, or you might chuckle yourself because you might be the same, or you're just the person who likes to have a little bit every day, and that's all you need. So it's important to know how you respond to your cravings and just work around that. Do what works for you. What I like to say is, if you're one of these people that can go without, go hard for the first 3-4 weeks, or even the first 2 weeks. If 3 or 4 weeks are too hard for you, have no junk food, then have a few days of relaxed dieting. So incorporate a little bit more, bad foods, you could say, and then go back on for the next 2 weeks on a really strict diet. So that may work for you. Or you just have a diet plan, or make a wee routine for yourself where you have a little bit of bad foods every day. I don't want you to completely eliminate it. That drives people insane, nuts, and it leads to really bad food relationships. So don't feel like you have to eliminate all your bad foods. Really important with that one. Keep that in mind. So take that into note for cravings and listen to your body for that one. Next up, we're going to go into the protein, carbs, and fats. Right, we're going to break this down a little bit here. So protein. We use protein in our bodies to repair and build muscle tissues. So like I was mentioning just earlier on, you go and work out, you actually break down your muscles, then your intake of protein helps to build those muscles. That's how you get stronger, that's why you get bigger muscles, and so forth. Hair and nails, they mainly consist of protein as well, so you need adequate intake of protein to, just for good nails and hair. And it's important for bone strength, skin, and cartilage. So a lot of things protein are actually used for in your body. Now, bone strength is especially important as you get older. You might have heard of osteoporosis. That's the weakening of your bones. The structures inside your bones start hollowing out. There's less strength to it, and you're more susceptible to breaks and fractures and things like that. Making sure your protein intake's high is going to help, not going to help reverse it. This is going to help prevent it a little bit. It's also going to allow your skin and cartilage to toughen and grow as you exercise as well. So make sure you get adequate protein. Your proteins can be either red meat, chicken, fish, nuts, lentils is also good as well. So all those kind of things. Obviously, you're going to get the most out of meats. So make sure you don't eat too much fat with the meats, because that's your saturated fats and things like that, the ones that aren't good for your body, but we'll go into that in just a second. So make sure you have your meats. Fish is really good. Fish is quite lean, so you get quite a lot of protein for the amount you actually get. And one thing also that you could think of doing is taking protein shakes. So typically when you have a protein shake is after your workout, that goes straight and gets absorbed by your muscles. That's why you see a lot of gym goers, they have a shaker with them, and it's like, they have a chocolate one in there or something like that, and they chug it after they work out. That's because generally within an hour after your workout, you want to take that protein. It's going to get utilized the most by your muscles, which means better recovery and more absorption rate from that for your body to use that protein, in other words. So without rambling on too much about the proteins, we're going to go into the carbs now. So carbohydrates, first source of muscle energy. So when you exercise, you run, or anything like that, the first source of energy is going to be your carbs from your body. So your body doesn't actually go to burning fats first. That comes after your carbs are burnt. Your body will use the amount of carbs or, glycogen in your muscle. Once that glycogen is used up, your body's then going to look into burning your fat. If you've got literally nothing on your body, you're just skin and bones, your body's going to use muscle instead for its energy. So don't worry about losing muscle or burning muscle. That's quite rare unless you're getting really into thin stages and you're quite lean. That's where you start taking more note of how many carbs or how much carb you're intaking for your body. We do have simple and complex carbs. Look at the picture to your right here. You see corn, you see wholemeal bread, you've got kumara, red potatoes, beans, you got wholemeal pasta and things like that. So they're all your complex carbs. That's what I mentioned earlier about sustained energy. Your body's not going to use it, or it's not going to get smack bang absorbed into your body and you're going to get a massive rush and you feel crap afterwards. It's going to keep you going for a long time. Your body's going to use it as it needs it. So like I say, they're complex. It's long for your body to break down. The sugar isn't dumped into the bloodstream. So that's what you get with your pastas and your white rice, or your real carby stuff like your white breads. Sugar is just spiked. Your insulin is spiked, and then that's a whole lot of sugar dumped into your bloodstream, giving you that rush, but then that crash afterwards. And right, carbs are needed for your brain function. So glucose is really important in that aspect. So don't feel like carbs are the enemy. People also say, or you might know of people mentioned that carbs are bad at night. Now that's a false statement. Carbs are not necessarily bad at night. It's just, it gets a bad stigma because people tend to eat when they're bored. So at night you might not be doing anything, you get those late night cravings and you eat more carbs, and then the next morning you're feeling a little bit more chubby around there. Not that fat adds that quick, but over time you add a little bit more weight and you put it down to your carbs that you eat at night. You just think, oh, I shouldn't eat it before bed. It's true, you're not going to burn it off, but at the end of the day, the way you lose weight is calories in versus calories out. What I personally used to do is I used to fast from the morning to about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'd fit my whole day's worth of food in a 4-hour window. So about 5 to about 9 p.m. I'd fit all my food, and that was upwards of 2,500 calories all in that one period, and I still lost weight. So don't go thinking that carbs are the enemy. You do need some carbs, but you don't need too many carbs. Have a good balance. Rightio. Hope that you got there a little bit more. Once again, you can write in the comments if you want me to clarify anything. Next up, we do have fats, which are stored energy. That's, in simple terms, definition of fat is stored energy in your body. So practically when your body has no way to utilize the energy coming in, so the carbs aren't used for your exercise or anything like that, you're just sitting down or you're lying down, there's nowhere to go, so it has to get stored as fat. So that's to be used later on, because it goes back to our, you could say caveman days where you might only have a meal once or twice a week. So your body needs to get all the calories, it needs to store that fat. So when you have those 3 or 4 days without eating, or even 5 days or more, your body can utilize that fat, burns that fat, and then it keeps you alive. So that goes all the way back to those kind of days that's still with us now. So fats are your stored energy. It's essential to eat some fats, but it's harmful eating too many. And it's harmful when you eat too many bad fats. So once again, that's your KFC, that's your McDonald's, that's your, you could say your cooking oils, your vegetable oils and things like that. Too many of those, they're not too good. Olive oil is good, but once again, it's really calorie dense. You don't want too many. You have your healthy fats, which are part of your avocados, your omega-3s, your nuts. They're all your healthy fats, so you really want those. But once again, you don't want to overdo it because they are quite dense in calories. If you have a wee look here, we've got saturated fats. So saturated fats, which you've probably heard before, are bad. That increases your cholesterol buildup. So try to limit saturated fats. Now, you're going to get saturated fats in probably most things these days. So it's hard to avoid, but if you can limit that, you're just going to help limit your cholesterol building up and then ending up into high cholesterol. So limit that and you should be okay. We do have unsaturated fats, which are good. Now that does help lower cholesterol. So if you swap into those nuts, you got your avos, you got your olive oils, you got your fish, all those kind of healthy fats, it can help reduce it, but I'm not going to say it's going to cure anything, but it's been shown in studies to help lower that a little bit, and it's much healthier on your body. Now you have your trans fatty acids. These are unhealthy. Like saturated, you want to kind of avoid these. Your deep fried stuff, all that kind of, all those kind of bad foods are what you kind of want to keep away from. So those are your fats. Now they're not the enemy. You just want to keep an eye on and watch what kind of ones you do have. So if you love salmon, that's perfect. I love my salmon. really good fats in that. Don't worry about you can't have too many because you'll probably get sick of it, by the time you have heaps and heaps. But if you can incorporate a little bit of each, you'll be fine. So here we go on to nutrient timing. So working out breaks down your muscles, like we mentioned earlier. Those nutrients that you get from nutrition, your protein, your carbs, and your fats, are needed to help repair and replenish and rebuild. So when you work out, once, like I mentioned, you're going to burn through that glycogen. Now, if you have carbohydrates in your post-workout meal, meaning after your workout, that's going to help replenish your muscle glycogen, which meaning your muscles are now refilled for next time you go exercise. They have that energy there that it can use straight away. Protein, that's going to go use for your muscles, once again, to repair, and your fats as well. So we do have optimal time to ingest protein. That is about an hour after your workout, or even better, if you can take it within 30 minutes after your workout, that's fine. Now, don't feel like your body's not going to use any protein if you take it an hour after your workout. That's just the optimal time where your body's going to utilize it the most. Any time after that, if you really can't get a meal in at all, or 1.5 hours after your workout, that's okay. Your body and your protein synthesis is what we call it, is still going to be spiked. So your body's still going to want to use that protein. It's just most optimal, if you're really pedantic, to take it 30 minutes to an hour after your workout. Next up, we do have consume carbs. So you'll want to replenish your carbs, like I mentioned, but keep it limited after your workout. You don't want to have too many. You don't want to spike that insulin too high. When your insulin gets too high, it's going to increase the rate of fat storage in your body. So keep it limited, nice, healthy, complex carbs, but you do want to have some sort of carbs in there. If not, that's okay. Your body will still burn through and chug along nicely. It's just if you're getting that really lethargic feel, make sure to incorporate something like that. So, rightio. Like I mentioned earlier as well, carbs are not evil, and they do help in the recovery process. You might have heard ketosis before. That's where you completely eliminate your carbs and your body uses ketones, things like that, so it goes into a lot of fat burning. But for a lot of people, that really does not work. People can't handle it. They get massive cravings and they end up binging just because you don't have any of those sugars coming in for your bloodstream. So I don't recommend doing ketosis unless you've done a little bit of dieting before and gone lower carb first, on a lower carb diet. High carb meals are best consumed after workout because your body does act like a sponge. So we mentioned that just before, your body's going to utilize and absorb most of it. So have most of your high carbs after workout. Once again, keep it limited, not too crazy amounts of pasta and rice and potatoes here and there. And also, for a bit of energy during your workout, have carbs for your pre-workout meal. So about an hour before, eat a light meal with some carbs, a bit of protein, and that's going to help fuel you for your workout. Now, if you look over here, we've got a wee graph on good versus bad carbohydrates. Know the difference, right? We have whole grain, oatmeal, green vegetables, and fruits. They're good carbs. We have bad carbs, which you would already know, which are refined grains. It's your white bread, you've got sugary cereals, you've got your soda drinks, candies and cookies. So all your bad carbs, they don't do much for your body. They're very little in terms of nutritional and minerals and vitamins, barely anything, if anything at all. So if you replace that with good carbs for your body, you're really giving yourself optimal, you're going to help your body function optimally without having to chuck in, full of empty carbs, you could say. So if we go talk a little bit about calories now. So we've been talking about carbs, proteins, fats. We're going to talk about the calories. So everyone would have heard of calories before, or kilojoules. You'll see it in the food labels on the back of products that you see at the supermarket. Calories are effectively a unit of energy. So approximately amount of energy to raise the temperature of 1 gram of water by 1 degree Celsius. That's how it's measured. Now, everyone does not require the same amount of calories. Don't feel like if you yourself need 2,000 calories a day, that doesn't mean someone else needs the exact same amount, for example, to maintain their weight or lose weight. Everyone's different because it does depend on your activity levels, your genetic makeup, how fast your metabolism is and all that kind of good stuff. Because if you have 2,000 calories, someone might need 2,000 calories just to, you know, add weight on. So you might need 2,000 to lose weight. So it's very different. That's where we have calculators. You've got online calculators, which you can use, which you input your activity levels, you know, what your age, your height, and everything your body fat is, and that helps to calculate how many calories you need. So just keep a note on that. Males tend to need more calories than females just because we hold more muscle, a little bit bigger in build most of the time, so your body needs more of that energy to keep your body running. So we do have energy in versus energy out. So very simply put, in order to lose weight, you got to be taking in less energy than what you're putting out. So you want to burn more than what you take in. If you want to add weight, you want to put more in than what you're burning out. It's quite easy to get once you understand the concept. You may find it a little bit hard if you've never been through this stuff before to understand it. But if I put it in an example, once again, we'll go with 2,000 calories. If I ate 2,000 calories to maintain my weight, I would want to burn about 2,500 calories a day in order to lose weight. So that's going to put me in a deficit of 500 calories. So I've got 500 calories less than what my body actually needs, which means my body's going to then use fat because it doesn't have that required energy, which means I'm going to lose the weight. And it's the exact same for adding weight. You've got to put more in than what your body actually needs. Now, next up, we're going to get into counting calories. This is when we get into the more mathy, sciencey stuff. So 1 gram of protein equals 4 calories. 1 gram of carbs is the same at 4 calories. We do have 1 gram of fat. Now, that's your highest. Fat are your most dense amount of calories worth. So you've got 9 calories and 1 gram of alcohol, which is 7. Like I mentioned earlier, we have your peanuts, your almonds. I did say eat nuts, but still limit them because they're very dense in calories. You can get a whole lot of calories in at once without, you know, realizing it, because a whole handful of nuts could easily equal 150 to 200 calories easy. So you've got to just be careful of how many you intake. 30 grams is usually a good way to go for some nuts, especially almonds and peanuts. So alcohol, 7 calories. Alcohol is purely empty calories. You're not going to get any benefit or nutritional value from those. It's purely empty. It does nothing for your bodies. So if you're a person that goes out drinking in the weekend and putting calories in your body, that's why you tend to see people get a bit of a beer gut. That's what they call it, beer gut, because they're getting all of these calories from alcohol, which is doing absolutely nothing for them. And so where's it go? It just gets stored as fat because you're not burning it off either. So be wary of that. And if you do like your alcohol, just try limit yourself. Don't go hard every weekend because it does add up. And trust me, you'll notice it after a period of time. We do have counting calories. For example, we've got this original chocolate chunk cookie. So if you look here, it's a total of 402 calories. Now, packets can be slightly different to what they actually work out to be. Protein, so 5.4 grams of that is protein. We've got 18.3 grams of fat and 52.7 grams of carbohydrate. So take notes if you need to on this one. So if I went and you look to your very right, past that cookie picture, we've got your protein here, which is 5.4 times 4, because 4 calories per gram of carbs. Times that by 4, that equals 21.6 calories. You do the same with your fat. That's 18.3 times 9. That equals a total of 164.7 calories. And then you do the same thing for your carbohydrates, which are 52.7 grams. So you times that by their calorie worth, which is 4, and that gives you 210.8. Add them all up, and that gives you 397.1 calories for your whole cookie. And if you see there, that's really close to 402. So if you don't have a calorie label and it doesn't say the calories, or you don't know the kilojoules of something, you can manually work out that way. But most foods tend to include the energy. So most of the time you won't need to worry about doing this, but it's just nice to know in the back of your head. Once again, if you want me to re-go over it, just put a comment and I'll do that. So next up, we have stoking the metabolism. So what you want to do to keep your metabolism running fast optimally is, you might have heard this before, is you want to eat smaller but more frequent meals throughout the day. So instead of having 2 humongous meals during your whole day, you want to split it up and have smaller frequent meals. So you might have heard up to 5 times a day. So you might have your breakfast, your lunch, and your dinner, and have wee small snack meals in between. That's perfectly fine. What that's going to do is keep your body's engine running optimally, keep it spiked, keep it running fast, which means you're going to be burning more calories. When you're burning more calories, you're going to be burning a bit more fat, which means you can get away with a little bit more food as well. Hope you understood that if you kept it up for me there. That's why I say eat your breakfast. At night, your metabolism slows right down just to help you get a restful sleep. So you want to eat your breakfast. That's going to help spike your metabolism and get your body's engine running for the whole day. Now, you want to do this with good food, because eating the wrong foods can increase that insulin spike we talked about. And increasing that insulin spike increases fat storage in your body. So if you have the right food, something light, something with a bit of protein, Greek yogurt's really good if you like to chug down Greek yogurt, or a wee smoothie in the morning. That's perfect. Just don't have any leftover fatty foods or anything like that. That's possibly the worst thing you can have in the morning. So the faster your metabolism, the more you can eat. Yes, that's true. You tend to find a lot of muscular people will have quicker metabolisms because their added muscle mass requires more calories to keep alive, you could say, because muscle is active tissue. So in order to keep it active and alive, you've got to take in more food just to keep and maintain that muscle. So the more muscle you add, the faster your metabolism is going to be, which is the more you can get away with eating without getting really big or adding more of that weight on. And once again, it provides ongoing nutrients for repair. So if you give your frequent meals, you have frequent meals throughout the day, you've got, you've got pretty much the whole day, every 3 hours or something, where you're giving something to your body to use in terms of nutrition, nutrients and vitamins to use, which is really important as well. Once again, a lot of people find that they do get full. Especially when looking back, I've got an out planned, they get really full, but they still lose weight. They ate more than what they actually did before, but they're still losing weight. That's because they're getting the right foods in their body. It's stoking that metabolism, which means they're actually burning a bit more calories and they're not eating the junk food that they used to. So once again, don't skip your meals. It's really important in keeping that metabolism going. More muscle, once again, faster metabolism, which means you can eat more. And everyone loves that, right? Unless you've got extremely fast metabolism and you're a person who's a bit skinny and you have trouble adding weight. We all know a few people like that. So optimum fat burning. Right, this is kind of going to sum it up a wee bit. Keep nutrition in check. Everything you do, just be conscious of what you have. Don't go all out at the start. Just start making changes where you can visually see what you're having. I like to go and tell my clients, especially people that sign up, is to go by the 80% rule, which is eat to your 80% full, and then focus on eating more slowly. That just gives your body a little bit more time into giving your brain recognizing the hunger signals. So if you eat slowly, your body's going to recognize that it's got food in its stomach, which means you're not going to shovel it down and eat so much before your body's actually realized that it's got it in its stomach. So eat adequate amounts of protein as well, preferably a bit of protein with every meal. Once again, it's just going to help for your muscle, going to help build it, help body repairs. Eliminate junk food if you eat it every day, but don't eliminate it altogether. Like I was mentioning before, just cut back a bit on it. Eventually you'll get to the point where you can cut back all of it and have it, once or twice a week. But at the start, if you have something bad every day, like you eat your hot chips every day, just cut out a little bit of it. And if I give you an example, that could be you order 1 scoop of chips every day. If you just start ordering half a scoop every day, do that for the next 2 weeks, and then eventually you just cut that down further and further. It just helps to build that habit, which is the most important thing, is lifestyle change and habit. What's your portion size? Okay, so don't eat with, what's the saying? Don't eat with your eyes or something like that, where you have way too much, you think you're going to eat all of it, you put so much on your plate, you really try to stuff yourself in, but you don't finish, you feel like crap, and you finish and you're lethargic and you're tired. That's because you put too much food in your body and that insulin is spiked right up. Usually it's too many carbs at the same time. Once again, here it leads on to don't eat until you're stuffed. So if you want optimal fat burning, you want to lose a bit of weight, don't eat until you're really bloated. Just feel satisfied. That's all that you need. Make it a lifestyle and habit change. So like I just mentioned before, it's that change in habit which is the most important, and that's going to keep the weight off. Now, nutrition, good nutrition will help you lose weight even if you don't exercise. But there's a big but here. Exercise is important because there's so many different benefits to it. It goes well beyond just losing weight and looking good. It's good for your heart, your brain, all your bodily functions. Exercise will allow you to burn more calories, which means more fat burned. And once again, that means you can eat more food and get away with it, which is always good. And increases muscular strength and size, so it will actually add muscle onto your frame. It makes your physique look great. So if I put an example, you can not be working out, you can lose a whole lot of weight, but what are you going to look like when at the end? You're just going to look like every other person out there. You're going to look like someone who actually doesn't work out. Now that might be totally fine for you. That could be all you want, and that's perfectly fine. But for someone who works out and they want to look like they work out, make sure you keep that exercise up. That's so important. It helps eliminate sag, so you might find yourself a bit saggy at places. Adding muscle is going to help firm and tone that area up. It's going to increase the thickness of your muscle, which tightens that skin around it. And, everyone doesn't like that loose bit of fat off their arms or anything like that. So if that tends to be an area, make sure you keep your exercise up, work those arms out, and don't totally ditch the exercise. We do have the health benefits, which is your heart, your blood flow, lowers your resting heart rate as well. So your heart won't beat it. Should rephrase that. Your heart won't beat as fast when you're just sitting down and doing nothing. So it lowers that. It means you can work out at a higher capacity. You can work out harder without getting out of breath and so forth. There's so many benefits that you really can't list them all. Google's got all of it, but it'll take you an age to list every single benefit. It literally affects everything. So do exercise. I just want to thank you for watching this. Next time I am going to hold a fitness and training webinar, so it's going to be all about fitness and your exercise. So it's not going to be about nutrition. For those that have stayed throughout this whole thing, I do have a 6-week transformation challenge coming up. Now, you may have saw earlier that you can get on a pre-sale list, so you get a special offer just for watching this webinar. Now that's actually going to commence on the 8th of August on Tuesday. So we'll have prizes. First place prize is $300 cash. We're going to have lots of progress tracking. Everyone's going to receive something for doing it. So don't feel like if you don't win it, you're not going to get anything. So everyone will get something. And it's going to go by how much weight you lose relative to your body fat. So you don't have to be the biggest person out there and lose so much weight and you're going to win. You could be, just a little bit of fat to lose and still win because it's a higher percentage of your body fat, relative to your body fat. Then we have a lot of support and accountability. So we're going to have our weekly emails. We're going to have calls. We're going to have tracking. We're going to have progress weigh-ins and all sorts of things for that 6 weeks to keep you on track. You're going to have full access to me. You can contact me anytime. You're going to get given a meal plan as well to help you assist in losing that fat, help get it kick-started and get you dropping. And also it's the best time to get you ready for summer. So if this sounds like something for you, make sure to get on the pre-sale list. Just contact me saying you're interested and I'll chuck you on that list and you'll save 10% off. So the price is going to be $147 for new clients. You'll get 10% off that. Just let me know if there's something for you. It's not going to go on sale probably until 2 or 3 days before the start. So if you want to get on there, make sure you let me know. It's limited to 10 people, strictly 10. So I'm not going to take any more than that. Once it's first in, so it's going to be first in, first served. Once it's at 10, I'll be taking no more on. So make sure you get in early on that. Action takers will be the first to claim the spots. So all in all, hope you picked up something from that. It wasn't way too in-depth. It's not too sciencey. It was just something basic, some overview on nutrition, why it's so important and towards reaching your goal. Thanks for watching and taking part. Remember, if there's any questions or comments, put them down. This has been recorded, so I will post it up somewhere where you can rewatch it again if need be. Keep an eye out on the page or emails if you're part of my list, and I'll let you know when the fitness webinar will commence as well. Once again, thanks heaps for watching, and hope to see you guys in Chiseled Fitness sometime soon.